Hey guys, how's it going? It's Culprit here, and today I'm bringing you my third chapter in my post-patch weapons guide. Today we'll be covering the support class. I just want to do a quick little demo here to show you some of my concerns. This is just full auto, holding it down, and you see the bullet spread there. It's pretty crazy. This is from, a typical engagement range, You see some burst fire here. I'm doing this to show you that there's really, this is the M60 by the way, there's really not much of a need for the foregrip. Most of these guns have pretty high vertical recoil. They don't have too much side to side, so foregrip is not going to be that useful for you. Here I wanted to show you, and I don't know if it does a very good job, there's such a thing as a prone accuracy bonus with these guns. So most other guns don't have that. LMGs do. If you're laying prone, you'll get a little bit of an accuracy buff. Here I just tried to simulate running up and engaging a target, and you just see the bullets go everywhere. You have to burst fire. I mean, you have to. You'll see right here, the bullets go crazy. The spread on an LMG is just too random for me. On an AR, if you're missing, you can see where you're missing and you can adjust. Look at here. Look at the spiral of the bullets. The bullets are going spiraling around. They're not going left. They're not going right. They're not going... There's nothing you can really compensate there. You just have to keep shooting and hope randomly you hit the guy. You have to rule out wide open shooting. It's just not... Full auto just doesn't work. Here's a little... Again, it shows you a little more of the prone accuracy. This is not with a bipod. This is just laying prone. You get a little bit of an accuracy bonus. As I was saying, you cannot go full auto with these weapons anymore post-patch. Look at the spread there. It's ridiculous. You have to burst fire. You have to learn to control your weapon. This is just with the M27. I'm just kind of simulating as if you were to kind of run up and engage and just open up like so many people do. And you just see, look at the bullet spread. Again, it goes a little more spiral, but I mean, you're not going to hit anything. It's that's not going to kill anybody. You have to burst fire. And this is just a quick demonstration of the bipod. Like I said, the spread is too random. It spirals when you're wide open. You must burst fire. You have to burst fire. Bipod makes just about all of them lasers. I mean, if you can get set up, you can get on a bipod, you're going to be a force to be reckoned with. So let's get right into the weapons. I'm going to talk about the IAR and the MG36 together because these two are your best bet for your option to run and gun. They're closest to the assault rifles. Many people before the patch, I mean, look at that. That's full auto. That's the problem right there. Many people before the patch just use these guns just like assault rifles, just with bigger clips. You can't get away with that anymore. They are less accurate than they used to be. They do have a little more vertical kick. It seems like that first round kick than it did. But these still are your more agile. It's easier to move, easier to run guns. That's the M27 IAR and the MG36. I would roll with the bipod. I didn't see a big difference with the foregrip personally. You might differ. I didn't favor the foregrip on any of these, which kind of makes sense. You really shouldn't have a foregrip on an LMG, I guess. I preferred the flash suppressor. Suppressor is also viable. I did have some success with that, so definitely give it a shot, because if you can stay off the radar with one of these guns where you're throwing a lot of bullets down range and yet they can't really tell where you are, that could be a pretty distinct advantage for you. Like I said, these guns aren't as good at the run and gun kind of playstyle as they used to be. They're still viable. You can do it. You're gonna really be pushing it, and your accuracy is not good here. You got to keep in mind your goal is to pretty much suppress. Kills are kind of like gravy. Like see all the bullets that takes. It just takes a lot of hit markers, so that can be very frustrating, for anybody. There we go. And the bonus, the benefit of these rifles, the MG36 and IAR, is the quicker reloads. You don't have as high a capacity of magazine, but you have a much quicker reload. This is one of my first playtests. That's why you don't see me burst firing that much. I hadn't really kind of trained myself. But you're going to definitely have to adapt your game. You cannot play these guns like you did pre-patch. The next weapon is going to be the Type 88 LMG. I actually sort of like this one. I did well with it. Probably because of the slower fire rate. I surprisingly tended to do better with the guns that had a slower fire rate now. It used to be the opposite case for me. I love the Saw, and the really high fire rates seem to do much better for me, but that's not the case now, and that's probably because you have to burst fire unless you're super close like there. This gun actually has a decent reload for a belt-fed LMG, comparing to the others. The extended mags and the bipod are the way I would go. You see me using it here. If you're going to use a weapon like this, and especially with most of the belt feeds, and you're going to want to really try to use it with the bipod and the extended mags when available. The other ones are okay, but you just, like I always talk about, use a gun for what it's for. You extenuate its strengths, and for this gun is going to be obviously the bigger magazine and the bipod if you're able to lay it down. I tried to use as much as I could on the bipod. I understand I did this test pretty much in TDM because it's just easier to get more engagements. and that's really not where these guns are going to shine. So it was hard to get it into bipod situations, but I tried to do it for you guys to give you a little example. But the Type 88, it's not bad. It's not one of my favorites. It's not bad, though. It's a little weird how it gets so narrow at the top, but it's definitely a decent weapon. The next weapon is going to be the M249 Saw. This used to be one of my favorites. It still kind of is, you know, when you get onto those, like, Operation Metro 64 mans, where you can really confine somebody, because that high fire rate is just going to tear people up. You see there, it's got decent little accuracy at a medium range. It still performs fine, and it's still going to be a lot of people's favorites. It's still up there with me. It's just not one. It's not the favorite anymore. I do enjoy the high fire rate when you can control it. Like when you get someone in a good situation, you can really tear them up with that fire rate. It just throws so many bullets down range. It's pretty amazing. I prefer the extended mags, obviously. With that fire rate, you need those extended mags and the bipod. You see here, I do pretty good. You still should probably burst fire a little bit, but you know, there's no way that guy's shooting at you. He's so suppressed. So. The foregrip and the suppressor was also viable. I actually had some success with that as well. So that's obviously you're gonna lose a lot of accuracy long range. But if you can run around with this saw where you're off the map and like in here, like you're in the containers and they don't know where you are, you're gonna light people up. You know, you're gonna have a confined space. This is just a demonstration of the bipod. It's pretty dominating when you can get set up like this. You're not going to get a lot of kills, but you're going to really help your team, and you are going to destroy the other team. They're basically, there's nothing they can do, at least down that one corridor. It's just nothing but lead coming at them. They're all probably so suppressed, and you need your teammates in there to then go and clean up. But this weapon's still very viable. Like I said, with that high fire rate, you're going to want those extended mags, because if you don't have them, you're going to just run that thing dry very, very quickly. The next weapon is going to be an M240B. This was not one of my favorites pre-patch. I did alright with it, though. This one kind of surprised me a little bit. I think it's because of the low fire rate, like I mentioned with the Type 88. It just makes the guns a lot more easy to control, okay? You can keep it on target a lot better. And this one as well, I definitely go bipod with extended magazines. You're not going to run a gun with this weapon. You got to use this weapon for what it's meant for. You know, wear a rash guard because you got to be on your stomach a lot, and just try to keep the enemy team suppressed. See right there, I couldn't quite hit the guy, but I was able to just keep enough bullets at him that he really couldn't do anything, and eventually he exposed himself, and I took him down. But this is definitely a viable gun. It's a little heavier, a little harder to move around, so it's harder to run and gun with. But I did have some success doing that. It does hit pretty hard. In my opinion, this thing, it feels like the M60's little brother. You know, it's very similar to the M60 in the way it has. This is a pretty good turn on this guy. I don't know why he got away and then came running back at me. I'm not really sure why he did that. You know, you got an LMG on a bipod shooting at you. What are you doing? So the next weapon is going to be the PKP, and I've heard a lot of good things about this weapon. People like it a lot. I don't know if that's pre or post patch. I was pretty disappointed by it. The iron sights are absolutely terrible, okay? I don't understand. As soon as you fire a bullet, whatever you were shooting at, you can't see anymore. Oh, man, that was such a good opportunity right there. You can't see anything. It just kicks right up into your face, and you're like trying to look up over the gun, and it's really hard to use, so you got to grind out that first optic, and I think that's at like 50 kills. So it can be tough to do. The bipod definitely helps with that. On this weapon, just like the other ones, I do prefer the bipod and the extended mags. Once again, use this weapon to its strengths. This weapon is more accurate, but it's just it didn't really stand out to me. I wasn't that crazy about it. It got moved up the list a little bit, probably just on bias, because I do hear so much good stuff about it. I kind of wonder if I missed something. I did alright. It's got a decent fire rate. It's not as high as the 249, the Saw, but it's good nonetheless. And definitely, I could understand if someone really likes it, while I didn't care for it too much. The next weapon was kind of a surprise to me, the QBB95. I didn't like this weapon post or pre-patch. I just didn't feel like it filled the role. It was, you know, it was too in between. The the IAR and the MG36 had the running gun type weapons covered, and then you had the Saw and whatever that were the real big heavy LMGs. So this one didn't seem to have much of a point to me. Now I see that as a strength. This is a very good in between weapon. It's in between those two, where I'm telling you the IAR and the MG36 are a little too much like assault rifles now to really warrant you using them. This one it's a step up a little more, so I would be more prone to use this than say the IAR or the MG36, I think, because it has a 76 round magazine. It enables you can suppress somebody with that magazine now. It has a little bit of a quicker reload than the other LMG belt fed, those type of guns, so that gives you that advantage. And the recoil, it's more vertical, but for me it was a little bit more manageable. so it was a lot, like, I guess, more predictable. So I was able to keep it on target a little better, and once you get the timing of it down, you're able to mow guys down pretty good with it. With this weapon, I stick with the bipod, but beyond that, it's really personal preference. If you like the flash suppressor or the heavy barrel or even the laser sight, I saw really good effects because this gun, you will be able to be a little more mobile, so it did really help your hip fire. So it reduced that spread quite a bit. That made hip fire pretty good. So if you're on a map like this, you're running around the containers, having that little hip fire spread could be good. So try it all out. And I also did use the suppressor, like I spoke about with the other weapons, that if you can stay off the map with something like this, that's a pretty good advantage for you. So on the QBB, like I said, I would definitely go bipod. I didn't see any benefit with the foregrip, so go bipod, but test the other guys out and see what you like. You might be surprised, and you can change things for the different situations. And the next gun is going to be the RPK. Now, there's a lot of confusion going around with this gun because there was no mention by DICE prior to the patch that it was going to see any kind of a buff as far as the magazine goes. But here we are. It has a 200-round magazine. It is a lot of rounds for this weapon. It's a major buff, and it really kind of changes this weapon. Now, this weapon is very similar, like I said, with the M16 of the assault class. It's good at everything. It's not really, like OP at anything, obviously. It's not deficient at anything, but it'll get the job done in a variety of different situations, and that's why I like this gun. I don't see how you can get away from the bipod and extended mags with this. It just, those extended mags is crazy, and to take that out for a flash suppressor or a heavy barrel, I don't see the benefit, to be quite honest with you. Here's a little demonstration of what you can be capable of if you do manage to get in position, get on your stomach with the bipod. You can just lay waste to a team. Now, granted, we have these guys spawn trapped. This went on for a while, like to the point where I started feeling kind of grimy for doing it, and I had ridiculous amounts of kills, and they just kept coming, and there was just nothing they could do because they were dead before they could really do anything. I think eventually I got flanked and killed, but that was the only way because you weren't going to get me through my corridor sight. It just wasn't going to happen. The RPK is a good all-around LMG. You can pick it up and go. It's kind of in between, say, the big funky like the Saws or the 240Bs, and it's obviously more of an LMG than the IAR or the MG36 or the QBB. So it kind of fits right in that middle ground. A lot of people like this gun. I know that. A lot of people were super excited when they heard that this thing was getting 200 rounds. And the last weapon is going to be my personal favorite post-patch, the M60. Kind of surprising for me because I didn't care for the M60 pre-patch, but I did by far the best with any of the guns with the M60. I think it's because of the slow fire rate, like I've mentioned. It enabled me to keep it on target and be much more accurate. Here's a little demo of it on a bipod from a pretty long range, just like a laser. It still hits hard. It kills relatively quickly despite the slow fire rate, which I liked. I didn't feel like I had to get 7 or 8 hit markers to kill somebody like I did with some of the other guns. So between the slow fire rate enabling me to keep it on target and hit multiple targets, as well as hitting hard, this was my favorite. Here, I mean, look at that. That's pretty crazy. Now most of the LMGs could do that with the bipod. That's just showing you. That's not anything specific to the M60, really. Strangely enough, these iron sights were effective for me. They look like they would drive you nuts, but I actually did pretty good with them. But I still do prefer a regular optic, don't get me wrong. I personally prefer the bipod over the foregrip. I didn't see much of a benefit with the foregrip, so you definitely want to be able to deploy that bipod when you can. Then it's a choice between extended mags and the flash suppressor, or the flash suppressor definitely helps recoil. I probably did prefer that. If you can get away with not using extended mags, I would definitely go that way. You could say it would depend on the situation, depend on the map, that type of thing. It's up to you, really. I mean, I did like having a 200-round magazine because you could just lay waste to people. I do want to mention we can't underlook the fact that you do feel like Rambo when you're shooting this thing from the hip. Don't lie. You know what I'm talking about. You guys that grew up with the Rambo movies. It does feel kind of cool to be just laying it out with an M60 from the hip. And there you go. That's on the bipod. Super accuracy. Here I am up against a sniper. This is no bipod, obviously, and I managed to take him down. This thing's a beast. Definitely check it out. It's the one that kind of excites me in the class, to be honest with you. And the one I could really see myself playing into the future, because some of these guns I don't want to play again. Overall, I was pretty disappointed with the support class. I don't know what they're doing with the weapons. They're really making them situational. You feel very much disadvantaged when you run across just about anybody else. And DICE really clearly wants you on your stomach with the bipod. That's what they want you doing, and I don't personally like it. It's not my play style. I don't care for it. Those of you that do and are good at it, I salute you. You're definitely an important part of the team. Don't get me wrong. it's just not for me. And I think right now, let's say I'm in my squad of buddies and we decide we need a support class. Maybe we need some C4 or Claymore or Mortar, something, whatever. And I go, okay, I'll spawn support. Right now, I'd probably be more likely to just grab a UMP or a P90 and go that route than I would be grabbing one of these guns. Unless I knew I had a specific purpose, like I mentioned, maybe holding B flag on Grand Bazaar Conquest, where you can get lay down with a bipod and just suppress the heck out of people. But all in all, it is so far my third favorite class. It wasn't the case pre-patch. I did like the sport class, but I just feel like I don't like the direction DICE is going. I don't care for a lot of these weapons. You have to play very, very differently than the other classes. Whereas you could jump from the assault class to the engineer class. The weapons are very different, but they operate along the same principles. Whereas you can't do that with the support class. You have to change your whole game. You have to change your whole thinking, which some people like that, and good for you. I prefer the quicker game where I can run and gun. That's just me. But I hope this guide was helpful for you guys. Remember, please like it. It really helps me out, and it really kind of makes this video appear to a lot more people. And, in the end, that's what I want. So thanks for watching. I hope I helped you out just a little bit. Remember, if you enjoyed it, I got a lot of videos like this. Remember to subscribe. Always welcome to comments, suggestions, feedback, criticisms, whatever you may have. So just drop them in the comments. I reply to everything. And thanks again, guys. I will talk to you soon. Take care.